In the late 1800s, Colorado's gold rush was in full swing, and mining towns were filled with hardened men chasing fortune. They had everything they needed: gold and silver or dynamite, and an overwhelming lack of hygiene habits. But when the going got tough, and they needed someone truly reliable, guess who stepped in? A 5-foot-tall woman with a burro train, zero patience for nonsense, and a work ethic that made grown men reconsider their life choices. Enter Olga Little, Colorado's toughest burro packer, who didn't need a man. All she needed was more gold to haul. One of Durango, Colorado's remarkable historical figure who packed ore for miners in the Durango area was Olga Little. She was Colorado's only female burro packer, running a string of burros that carried food, supplies, and dynamite into remote high-altitude mines. On her return trips, she hauled heavy sacks of gold and silver ore, and at least once, she even packed out a deceased miner. Olga Little operated primarily in the La Plata Mountains, where she was well known among miners. She was highly respected for her strength, resilience, and resourcefulness, excelling in a profession dominated by men. Her burros played a crucial role in keeping mining operations running, transporting essential goods and ore through rugged terrain. She continued packing well into the early 20th century, even after roads and trucks began replacing traditional pack trains. One winter, miners at the Hidden Treasure Mine were stranded in deep snow. Supplies ran out, and death seemed inevitable. That's when Olga stepped in, leading her burros through a dangerous storm to bring food and save lives. By the time she returned, the miners called her a hero of the mountains. Her story isn't just about mining. It's about resilience, grit, and survival. And today, as we retrace these trails, we honor the legacy of Olga Little, Colorado's most fearless burro packer. Her legacy is honored with Olga Little Mountain, an 11,426-foot peak east of Kennebec Pass, named in recognition of her contributions to Colorado's mining history. The miners meet Olga. Now, imagine the scene. A group of dirty, exhausted, half-starved miners stand at the edge of their Snowden camp, expecting some burly mountain man to arrive with emergency supplies. Instead, in walks Olga Little, half their size, leading a string of burros and looking at them like, "Yo, really let yourselves get stranded up here?" While the miners were busy digging holes and playing with explosives, Olga was running supply chains, carrying gold, and hauling more weight than any of them combined. Frankly, Durango, Colorado should have just handed her the deed to the town. Durango, Colorado in the late 1800s was a wild, rowdy, and unapologetically lawless mining boom town. Founded in 1880 by the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad, it quickly became a gateway to the San Juan mining district, attracting prospectors, merchants, and, of course, the usual suspects: gamblers, saloon owners, and brothel madams. The gambling scene. Durango saloons weren't just places to grab a drink. They were high-stakes battlegrounds where fortunes were won and lost overnight. Poker, faro, and roulette were the games of choice, and cheating was practically an art form. If you got caught, well, let's just say gunfights weren't uncommon. The town's most infamous gambling halls include the Diamond Bell Saloon, where gunfighter Wyatt Earp supposedly played cards, and the Old Hundred, a hot spot for miners looking to blow their hard-earned gold dust. Booze and saloons. Durango had no shortage of whiskey, and the saloons were packed day and night. The town's liquor flowed freely, with imported spirits from Denver and locally brewed moonshine, keeping miners and cowboys thoroughly entertained. The Strader Hotel, built in 1887, housed one of the most famous saloons, where business deals, brawls, and questionable life choices were made over a glass of bourbon. Brothels and red light district. Like most mining towns, Durango had a thriving red light district where soil doves, as prostitutes were called, worked in bustling bordellos. The most famous madam was Mattie Silks, who ran a high-end establishment catering to wealthy miners and railroad men. Prostitution was technically illegal, but law enforcement mostly looked the other way, as brothels contributed heavily to the town's economy through business licenses, fees, and fines. Durango's nightlife was equal parts thrilling and dangerous, a place where gold dust turned into whiskey, poker chips, and questionable decisions. Burros were the backbone of mining transport, but let's be real. If pack goats had been around back then, Olga would have upgraded. Just joking, I know she wouldn't have traded a single one of her burros for a goat. But in modern times, goats are great pack stock to have. Goats eat less, complain less, and won't actively try to kick you into next week when annoyed. A modern woman's pack animal, if you will. Olga's most fearless act of self-sacrifice for her fellow miners. One winter, miners at the hidden treasure mine were snowed in with no food. Everyone expected them to start writing farewell letters, but instead, Olga grabbed her burros, ignored common sense, and hiked through a blizzard to rescue them. I can almost hear those miners now. Oh wow, a woman saved our lives? Maybe we should reevaluate our choices. But in all fairness, they probably knew Olga or knew of her. Olga's legacy, a mountain named after her. Olga didn't retire until the 1940s, long after roads replaced burro caravans. And because the universe knew she deserved way more credit than she got, there's now a mountain named after her, Olga Little Mountain, standing tall in the San Juan Range, just like she did. Olga Little didn't need saving. She did the saving. So next time you think about tough pioneers who built the West, forget the mustache cowboys. Remember the woman who packed gold, rescued miners, and did it all without needing a man to tell her how. Olga was always on her own, traveling with her 40-pack train of burros, either carrying supplies up to the miners from Durango or bringing ore to the Durango smelter, all of which she did by herself.